Welcome back. Now, multi-award-winning children's book author Lebohang Masango has recently released a non-fiction book titled The Soft Life, Love, Choice and Modern Dating. The book features in-depth perspectives from 5 South African women in their late 20s to early 30s on the concept of soft life. Lihle, Jolie, Camille, Nomonde and Bongi unpacked all the juicy topics that are bound to come up in various settings when it comes to relationships, dating, romance, standards and the economy, and of course the state of the nation. While the feminist thinker, author and anthropologist Lebohang Masango joins me in studio to chat about her newly released project. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning, Lebo. Thank you for having me.
It's so good to have you. I mean, give us your brief description of what this book is about and the reasons behind you putting it together.
So this book is a look at young women and how they are formulating and thinking about romantic relationships. And for a lot of people, this is quite a frivolous thing to be thinking about. But when we think about, about 6 years ago when we had the blesser-blessee phenomenon, it tells us that the nation is actually interested in what young black women are doing, in how they are having their relationships, and in how they're just conducting themselves intimately. And so that is what actually led me to start thinking about this on a more serious level, and to not just think about it from the level of wanting to shame women or wanting to degrade them, but really speaking to young women to talk about how are you actualizing the life of your dreams and how does your romantic relationship play a part.
Yeah. Describe the soft life as you describe it in the book.
So the soft life really is what you make of it as a person. For these young women, living soft means anything from being able to travel internationally at a moment's notice, being able to go to spa dates when they like to, and just having the kind of material comfort where you can do the things that you want to do, not only that you need to do. So they also are career-focused women, they are entrepreneurs, some of them work in advertising, and these are hardworking women who want their boyfriends or husbands to be equally as hardworking in order to match them so that they can live the soft life as a couple.
Now, you say this book is, the mantra of modern soft life. What do you mean by this?
So there are a lot of femininity coaches on YouTube, a lot of, I suppose, soft life coaches on YouTube and other spaces where, people are trying to give the formula. Like, I look so well put together, I look so focused, I clearly live a life of material comfort, and you can have it too. This is how you do it. And so they give out these tips about being more traditional, being more feminine as a woman, and actually following a traditional kind of femininity in order to actualize this life of material comfort. And this is what I go into the book to look at. As a social anthropologist, I'm interested in culture. So I'm interested in why we do the things we do, how we do them. And so I use a lot of research insights to talk about the depth behind all of this.
I want to talk about the characters in the book, Lihle, Jolie, Camille, Nomonde and Bongi. Tell us a little bit about them and how they bring the story together.
Okay, so these are young women that I had the pleasure to speak to.
Right.
Some of them, as I said, one is in advertising, one is an actuary, the other is an entrepreneur. Actually, 2 of them are entrepreneurs. And these are young women who live around the country, and they have been quite unapologetic about how romantic relationships are actually important for them in realizing the kinds of lives that they want to have. This is going away from that shaming notion of calling people, blessees and so on, but just to think about how actually, when you think about it, marriage has always been a way for women to access higher class mobilities. Marriage has always been a way for women to secure their futures financially, and this is across the board, right? So these young women have that kind of mindset, but as well, they are ambitious, hardworking women in their own right. So it's just about going through their trials and tribulations. The book begins with COVID because that is really when I started speaking to them, and COVID obviously was an unprecedented time for all of us, but I'm interested in what it did to our personal relationships as well, especially intimately. So I begin there, and then I look at what these young women believe about love, choice and modern dating. I also have a section where I look at social media and the kinds of conversations, because the topic of love and romance is always controversial there. So those kinds of conversations that have happened there. I also look at vulnerabilities and violence because you cannot separate that from the conversation, and also some of the feminist inclinations that these women have in bringing their ideas to life.
And I want to speak about their trials and tribulations. Is there a common thread to how they, the challenges that come with modern dating and soft life?
Yeah, the common thread so far is that vulnerability to violence. But what I say in the book really is that they're not vulnerable because they're looking for a soft life.
Right.
They're vulnerable because they're women in South Africa, and we're all vulnerable regardless of the kinds of relationships we're choosing to pursue. However, when women are more upfront about the kinds of standards they have for their love lives, a lot of the time the threat of violence is wielded against them in order to make them withdraw from the kinds of this kind of ambition that they perhaps shouldn't be having. And so I speak about that as a challenge that kind of ties everyone together. But what ties everyone together as well is, they are on social media, they are young women, they are seeing how their peers live internationally. And this, I believe, is a source of a lot of people's aspirations. The desire to be beautiful all the time, to be put together, to project a particular kind of image. This also draws from social media and the fact that this kind of aesthetic entrepreneurship has allowed women to literally transform their lives. Being beautiful can transform your life, and being beautiful in a relationship can transform your life even more. So these are some of the things we're unpacking in there.
And do they have realistic expectations? Because social media has put out that thing that you must, like you just said, you must be perfect and a relationship must be perfect, you know what I mean? But do they have realistic expectations of what soft life is?
I believe they really do, they are not without their own challenges. Some of them have been chronically unemployed, some of them have been in relationships that didn't work out, as well as they would have liked. So they are very, very realistic. One of them actually, I believe it's Nomonde, she's dating a younger man. And she understands that this particular lifestyle that I want is not going to come from this person who's younger than me, but we're going to figure it out because that's what romance and love is about. It's about coming together and figuring it out. So it's not about casting these women as vixens. It's about showing how they are realistic young women who are very sound of mind and the kinds of choices they're making in their lives.
What's been the response to the book?
Well, so far people have met it with so much warmth and excitement. I actually managed to read someone's Instagram review yesterday and, she loved it. It really is a quick read, but it's full of insights and research, which I think is important. It stays away from moralizing and problematizing young black women, and it's really just about speaking about the issue without trying to create a villain, which is what media sometimes tends to do in this kind of conversation.
All right, Lebohang Masango, congratulations on the book. Thank you so much for talking to us. She is a multi-award-winning children's author, speaking to us about her latest book, hot off the shelf book titled The Soft Life, Love, Choice, and of course, Modern Dating. All right, quick ad break. Back after this. Stay with us.